I have an interesting story that would be fun to end the show out with before we move on to Patreon. And this is by CBC. Another Kit talks about UBI quite often. I think about UBI quite often. I probably should say it so our word counts are equal, because that's what matters.
Universal basic income, now more than ever, folks.
So there was this test that they did with homeless people, and the results will shock you, unless you know basic stuff that we've done before.
Well, what's happening, Dan?
So this was a results of a BC research project that gave thousands of dollars to homeless people. 7,500 specifically could challenge the stereotype about people living on the margins. The New Leaf Project is a joint study started in 2018 by Foundations for Social Change, a Vancouver-based charitable organization, and the University of British Columbia. After giving homeless Lower Mainland residents cash payments of $7,500, researchers checked in on them over a year to see how they were faring. Now, if you are a picker up by your bootstrap, you would just say, they just bought 100%. The liquor stores were doing really well for a week, or something of that nature. All 115 participants, which I would like to see more people next time, ranging in age between 19 and 64, had been homeless for at least 6 months and were not struggling with serious substance or mental issues. Okay, that's actually a very fair narrowing down. That will affect a lot of these things. Of those, 50 people were chosen at random to be given the cash, while others formed a control group that did not receive any money. So I would definitely like a bigger control group to be working with here. What researchers found after 12 months, she said, was beautifully surprising. I would say, if I was doing this, which I'm about to get to these results, I would say, yeah, that's about what I would have expected. So not only did those who received the money spend fewer days homeless than those in the control group, they also had moved into stable housing after an average of 3 months compared to those in the control group who took an average of 5 months. Those who received the money also managed it well over the course of a year. We saw people retain over $1,000 for 12 months, which is remarkable in the Low Mainland. On average, cash recipients spent 52% of their money on food and rent, 15% on other items such as medication and bills. And let's be real, if this is in Canada, most of that's in bills. And 16% on clothes and transportation. And the Vancouver mayor has actually recommended $30 million in relief. I'm not sure if that's connected to this or not. Almost 30% of the people who received payments were food secure after 1 month. In comparison, spending on alcohol, cigarettes, and drugs went down on average by 39%. So not only giving the money didn't cause people to go out and buy everything in a liquor store, it's some cartoon that someone on Fox News would come up with. It actually caused them to spend less money on those things because probably, I would argue, they had a little more hope and they had a little more security, so they didn't need to escape as much.
Right, exactly. So, outstanding concept, Daniel. So, number one, you give the homeless a place to live. A universal basic income can work if implemented properly. Not only that, it gives people hope to not escape into alcohol abuse, tobacco use, drug use, because, they don't have to worry about freezing or being in the elements or worried about being attacked because they have a safe place to live. They live somewhere safe. It seems like Canada has figured it out in many ways, and that a universal basic income isn't turning it into a lawless state. It seems that they figured it out. It seems that they care about their people. Now, we here in the United States, we have money for this joint strike fighter that can't even work properly. Trillions of dollars spent on it, but helping out the poor, working class families, another stimulus check? No. Our politicians aren't going to do it. This is so ass backwards. We should be the ones setting the standards. But yet, we have no social safety nets to take care of our people. We have no programs to take care of our people. We have nothing to take care of our people because our government already bailed out those corporations. Those corporations don't need any money. Those corporations, too big to fail, can't even maintain their books properly. These great wizards on Wall Street, these great businessmen, these people in the suits and tie who own our politicians, basically can't run a business. You want to know why? They always have to be bailed out by the government. They're not financially smart. They're not financially capable. They're inept at their jobs, and they need our tax-paying dollars to bail them out. Screw that. The people need a bailout. And Canada, once again, is leading the way. You know, they even legalize nationwide a certain plant.
Yeah, their cannabis industry is going to be
own us.
Exactly.
It's already here.
Yeah.
So there we go. So hey, politicians, way to be ahead of the curve. So to the people of Canada, just a heads up, make sure you will really keep an eye on your government, especially other democracies too. You should, all of you, international wise, should work together to make sure that you don't put in an amendment in your constitution so that corporations cannot buy your government. Make sure you get money out of politics, because you guys have a better chance than maybe we do at this point, because the United States once again is falling further and further behind. We need universal basic income. We need Medicare for all. We need to end regime change wars. We need to end the prison industrial complex. We need to end the military industrial complex. We need to invest into our infrastructure. We need to get off of the fossil fuels. I'm going to be quoting the OFF Act, because apparently the Green New Deal isn't going to be adopted by the Democrats anyways. It's just a copied, watered-down version from what the Green Party created anyways. So, yeah, shout out to... Oh, I thought you were going to add in something real quick.
No, I'm listening keenly and intently.
Yeah, but this is just so asinine, and it's just rather insulting that this is how far we have fallen. Give people a safe place to live. I love driving to the studio. This is a studio that we worked years to get.
Those bricks, we laid them by hand ourselves. That mortar, I did.
No.
Definitely. I promise.
But we worked hard to get this studio. But the sad fact is, every time I drive here, I'm seeing more and more homeless tents underneath the bridges. I'm seeing more and more people on the streets. And, we could avoid this crisis if we had affordable housing. Housing is a human right. Pass it on.
Yeah, I mean, literally, like I say, even if you're oh, I don't care about homeless people or helping them or helping my fellow American, just be selfish and it still works. It's about $70,000 in the U.S. It's about $70,000 a year for a homeless person to exist, and that's because they have to get taken to the hospital, the police, all that, the public stuff that goes into putting them in jail because they're in an area they shouldn't for too long. That's $70,000 a year. So a person, if you just want to be selfish about all this, is costing taxpayers $70,000 a year. Why don't we do what we can to invest in said homeless people, make sure they have stable housing, they need medication or treatment, help them get that, pay for that, maybe make our own systems, because there's going to be so many people we're going to be referring if we're a city government or something, and get them stable on a job, and then they're paying taxes, and then you go from this person costing taxpayers $70,000 a year to paying into the tax pool and all the services. It just makes sense, even if it's from a self-entitled point of view.